Hi, welcome. This is Carrie from Scrapyard Chicks. I want to welcome you to our Thanksgiving project. We're doing this really cute accordion piece right here. It says give down the side, and it says thanks, and it's just a cute little accordion thing you can put on your mantle, or you could do it as a mini book. And then inside of each one we have these great little pull-out tags that you could do a photo on, or you could journal on, or you could do both. Anyway, you could also alter this. You could do this as a birthday thing, which would be really cute on the mantle with a bunch of birthday pictures, or you could do it as a Christmas thing with the word believe. So there's lots of options here. I'm just going to show you how to fold this together. I did it out of cardstock. So you see my back is all solid. You can see I've got some cardstock right here where I've seamed it together. So you're going to use two 12 by 12 pieces of cardstock for the base, and then another sheet. You're not going to use the whole thing to do the hinges and also to do your letters at the bottom. So we're going to go ahead and get started here with this, with our Give Thanks project. Okay, so let's get started. So you're going to use a 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock. So go ahead and score that at 6, and then turn it, and you're going to score it again at 4 and at 8. That's going to give us our 3 panels. You're going to do 2 sheets like this. I've already pre-scored one. So once you get that scored, you're just going to go ahead and fold it. Use your bone folder to get a nice crease there. Go ahead and fold it in half like this. And then you go ahead and accordion fold it like this along those score lines. And then just take your bone folder and really get those a nice crisp fold line. You don't have to use a bone folder, but to me a scoring and a bone folder is kind of like pressing when you sew. You can do it without, but you don't end up with as nice of a finished product. So you've got a piece like this. I'd already done one. I just need to use my folder along those lines. And then we're going to do the binding strips that binds this together. You could do more panels of this if you wanted to. I did 6 because I wanted to get the word thanks on there, but you could do it longer if you wanted to make this into a book. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the score pal off to the side for a minute. What we're going to do is we're going to bind these 2 pieces together. Whoops, I have to change my direction here, because you want this to be one constant accordion. So you want it to go together. What am I doing here? Did I do it wrong? I did. I had it right the first time. Duh. Okay, sorry. Not enough turkey yet. So we want it to go together like this. So what I've got is I've got 3 different binding strips. This one is 2 by 6. I've got 2 that are 2 by 4.5 and one that's 2 by 2. I've scored them down the center. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the one that's 2 by 4.5, and I'm going to put some glue on it, and I'm just going to bind it along the sides right here like this. And we're going to bind that first pocket closed. So I like to use liquid glue for this because I find that it holds a lot better than even super tape. Super tape, you know, some of that stuff just really kind of tends to pull up. So you're just going to go ahead and kind of scoot that down to the bottom of the fold and fold that over. This first panel is going to be our folded back piece like that. The next one we're just going to leave for now. So then what we're going to do is we're going to bind both strips together. So we're going to take our long binding strip, which is a 2 by 6. It's already pre-scored. I'm going to put glue on the back of this, and I'm going to bind these 2 strips together like this. And you could use a different color of cardstock if you wanted some contrast. And if you want to do this as a really fast and simple project, use double-sided pattern paper, just 2 of the same pattern. And then, or you could do 2 different ones, I guess. And then you don't even need to mess with the cardstock and the extra pieces. I use cardstock and just some paper scraps that I had. So for this next strip, you're going to put on the back side of this, you want to butt that right up to there, and then you're going to bind the next part of your book together like this. If it hangs off a little on the top, that's okay. We can trim that later. Just go ahead and press that so it's nice and flat. Nice thing about 3-in-1 glue, which is one of my favorites, is that you can kind of rub off the excess without making a really horrid mess. You want this still to be able to fold, so don't get your binding strip in there so tight that you can't fold it. Now we're going to take this little 2x2 guy, and we're just going to, it's scored down the center. We're going to take that same thing, and we're going to put that on the right side. So we're going to put glue on either side of it like this. And we're just going to put that down, we're going to put that down between these two pieces like this. And that is going to be this little area right here. It's covered up by paper so you can't see it, but what we want is we don't want that to be flapping open, so we're just going to bind that together right there. Okay, so we bound this edge with the 2x4.5. We bound the back side right here with the 2x6. This one is a 2x2. We have one more 2x4.5 that we're going to put over on the other edge. Okay. So I'm back, and we have our whole piece bound together. Now what we're going to do is we are going to cut these little flaps and things to make the book a little bit more interesting. So we're going to start with this first panel. We're going to do a folded down flap. So we've got this binding strip over here. So I measured down 1.5 inches, and I just made a little mark with a white gel pen. I'm just going to take my scissors, and I'm just going to cut down to that spot. Now at this point you can use a scoring tool if you want, or sometimes I find it's just as easy just to score, just to fold along the edge of a ruler. And then we're just going to fold that little flap down like that. So we've got the folded down flap. The next one we're going to do a punch out, and we'll wait and do that once we get our paper on there. And then the third one we're going to do is that folded down triangle flap. And so for this one, what we're going to do is I'm just going to take my ruler. We've got this little 2x2 binding strip, so I'm going to position the edge right there, and then the other edge right up to where the fold line is, and just kind of fold it along the edge of the ruler. Once again, you could use a scoring tool if you wanted to do that. And we're just going to fold that down. Now you might notice that on mine, I have all this great pattern paper. So the way that I made that work is, like for this little folded part, I took my piece of I went ahead and glued my flap down. Then I took my piece of pattern paper, glued it right on top, folded it down in the same fashion. I inked up my edges and stuff, and then I glued it right on top of that little pocket like that. So I would get that nice folded flap. Once again, if you're using a double-sided pattern, you could skip having to put the extra pieces on. So I went ahead and did that. For our first little section where I've got this flap, I did it the same way. I went ahead and folded that flap down, or glued that flap down. Then I took my pattern paper and I just folded this little flap. And you might see I actually added a little detail with some scallop scissors along there. So that's what we're going to do for those two folded pieces. And then for this middle one, it's actually got a little bit of a punch out. So what I did is I went ahead and I glued my paper down onto there. And then I took my once you get that done, you can kind of open it up, take your 1.5 inch hole punch, and just kind of reach in there halfway. You can see on mine, I went ahead and marked my halfway spots. A lot of them have markings on the side and the top. And then you can go ahead and pull out that, or punch out that thumb punch area of this. And then for the tags for this, they're just slightly smaller than 4x6 because 4 inches is the fold. So they are actually 3 3/4 by 6. So I just went ahead and did a variety of different things along the top for these little tags. Some of them I actually made like tags. And so you can do whatever you like. And to embellish your little sections, I did a little folded over ribbon piece here with a little overhand knot, a button, some ribbon, and then a whole bunch of buttons going across here. So you can go ahead and decorate it however you like. In the directions I gave you all the dimensions for the lettering and stuff. I used Planton School Book for my Give Thanks. You could use any kind of Cricut cartridge that you like, or you could even do some sticker letters. So just a real fast and easy project for you to do for the holidays. Thanks, and have a really happy Thanksgiving.